Alright, we're AnimeSecrets.org and we're here today with Kyle Hebert. I am Rizwan Merkson, this is Mika Lees, and Kara Turnbow. And this is Kyle Hebert.
What's up, yo?
So, today we're here to talk to Mr. Kyle Hebert about his voice acting career and maybe learn some trades of the secret, learn a little bit more about what it takes to become Kyle Hebert.
Oh my god. Luckily there's only one me.
You don't know that yet.
Well, okay, until they have the clone technology. Sending the clones!
The aliens are working on the replication technology.
They are, when they're not abducting cows and probing people's butts. But, yeah, I mean, the most common question I get is how do you get to the industry? And, you know, everyone's path is unique. It's different. I came from radio. A lot of people come from stage or on camera. And, you know, do you ever do any real acting? Like, no, voice acting is acting. It's just one type of acting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more comfortable in the voiceover world because it's something I've always wanted to do. And I transitioned from radio, working as a DJ, and it helped actually build confidence. I mean, I was just like incredibly shy kid, really introverted, and still am to some degree. But you know, at least I can do public speaking and talk to a big panel and have no problems whatsoever. There's no nervousness or anything. And I have no little to no theater experience at all. But the radio stuff helped kind of break my shell, and then working on Dragon Ball Z, you know, and back 14 years ago when I started, and it's led to everything else since then. It's been a nice domino effect.
So is Gohan your first role in the industry?
Gohan was my first major role.
Okay.
Like I first did bit parts. Like when you're doing anime dubs, they hire an actor and they usually will try them out first to see if they can respond to taking the direction, doing the lip sync, and all that's a very technical skill. And not everyone can do it. They've had people that have, you know, veteran actors with great voices, and they come in and they freeze because of the timing issue.
Right.
So a lot of people with a musical background, or whether a singer, dancer, drummer. I was a drummer in high school and everything. So I got the rhythm of the beeps, you know, beep, beep, beep. That's a little starting gun, and then you say your line. So, yeah. Go-On was my first major role, and again, that's led to everything since then, working on other shows like Yu Yu Hakusho, Full Metal Alchemist, transitioning to LA, I got into Naruto, Bleach, Gurren Lagann. So yeah, and then like Ryu and Street Fighter led to being on Wreck-It Ralph, which is my most favorite career achievement, even though it's 2 lines.
Well, it was a great movie, so...
It's better than nothing.
Yeah.
That's 2 lines more than most people have in Disney.
That's true.
Exactly.
At least you're not a dead parent.
How is
Right.
the...
It's so true.
What's the differences in like being in a Disney production versus like maybe something with like anime as the
Believe it or not, it's actually very similar in that because of all those celebrity schedules, they had to record by themselves. So by the time they called me, and after they could peel me off the ceiling from squeeing like a fangirl, I was in the booth with just the director. So, like standing next to me was Rich Moore, the director of Wreck-It Ralph, and a music stand in front of me with my little script with my 2 little lines, and then I'm done in 5 minutes, and then I go home. Like, oh, I can't believe it. And then they call me 2 weeks later, and they rewrote the cameo. It wasn't really that funny at first, and they rewrote it, and it was funnier. I wasn't going to say anything. It's like, I'll say whatever you want. This is a Disney movie. And they like freaked out. They're like, oh my god, thank you. We got the voice of Ryu here. Like, I'm the one freaking out here. Just saying. And yeah, that's just wild. So even before the movie hit theaters, I got to see my little part. They like, I mean, it's not film projected. Everything's all digital now. So they just had it queued up on a computer screen. I just watched just the scene in the beginning of the arcade. And you see, okay, arcade's closed. And you see Ryu and Ken in the 8-bit. You know, like, show you again. Like, that's me. I'm used to hearing my voice coming out of like television shows and games and all that, but now, you know, it's like, what? I can't believe it. I grew up big Disney fan, big cartoon fan. It's like, this is what I want to do when I grow up. And no, I'm living my dream. How many people can say they're doing that? And the ones that are will all say, this is a struggle. It's not handed to you. And you appreciate it more when it's not handed to you. When you work for it, when you earn it, when it finally happens, no matter how big or small those little progressive steps are, it just feels like it's so such a relief to be able to say, oh my God, this was worth it. This was worth all the stress, all the waiting around, all the times auditions didn't go through and I didn't get booked or whatever. It's just like, all right, this is it. And then things like this, when I come to A-Kon or other conventions, and icing on the cake, you know, get to meet the fans, get to see what sort of difference as an actor our performances have made in someone's life. Something as simple as, hey, you made us laugh, or hey, we really enjoyed your performance, to something deeper like, hey, I was suicidal and then I watched Gurren Lagaan and your character really stopped me from popping pills or hanging myself or whatever. It's like, that's deep, man. I had no idea that something that I take as something fun could have such a deep impact on someone's life.
Yeah, I think that was something the lady that runs the convention here was talking about last night.
Yeah.
In the opening ceremony, that, you know, they started A-Kon here 25 years ago, and now they have, like, you know, letters coming in every year, like, saying, thank you for running this con, you've really made a difference in my life. And I think that's really inspirational, like, just seeing, like, this part of the industry, like, and how it gives back to the people, like, you know, to support the films, the animes, and all that.
Yeah,
like an outlet or something.
Well, supporting the culture and the art form, but also just supporting each other as a community.
Yeah.
You know, people getting bullied, and you know, maybe some people that struggle with being social and everything. This is kind of a safe haven. You know, people dealing with just issues of like, oh, I'm shy, you're that weird anime kid, to something, you know, like you know, gender issues or orientation issues, and you come here and everybody's just themselves, and it's wonderful and supportive, and I think it's great that all conventions can help foster that sort of environment.
So, how did, where are you from, like, originally, like?
Oh, with my last name being Hebert, people think of like, how do you get a name like that out of H-E-B-E-R-T? But I was born in Lake Charles, Louisiana, so
You're like, you're very close to where we are from.
Oh, really?
I'm from Lafayette.
Lafayette, yeah, that's like an hour away.
Yep.
Wow, yeah, I went to CypherCon last year.
Oh, yeah?
I never dreamed that I would grow up and come back to my hometown and there's an anime to a convention. What? I mean
Hey, CypherCon, there's your shout out.
Yeah, I mean, and then see like riverboat casinos and all that. I mean, in the late '60s when I popped out into the world, it was a different place, and you know, the economy struggling. So my parents immediately moved to Dallas. I'm basically a Texan, and people say you don't have an accent. It's like, well, I can if you want me to.
I don't have an accent. I'm from Texas.
Right, and I know lots of people from Texas, and they don't have accents.
Yeah.
Well, you start learning one.
But life is a melting pot, and you know, nowadays, now living in Los Angeles, where you know you get the biggest cross section of everybody. Doesn't matter what suburb you live in. So many. It's just like, this is a cultural diversity mecca, you know, and it's great. And I wanted to, and I love it in LA. I moved there because that's where the work is. That's where the cartoon work and most of the games. Anime to a smaller degree, but there's still some pretty consistent stuff going on. Funimation here in Dallas is obviously still the giant, and I'm forever grateful to them for giving me a shot.
Where did you study, and what did you study?
Oh, I studied at the University of North Texas, got a broadcasting degree, radio, TV, film, and I got an internship through there at ABC Radio Networks, which no longer exists, but so I was on the radio here on some satellite syndicated formats, doing everything from top 40 to big band to classic rock to classic country to heavy metal.
Oh.
And I went from heavy metal to kids radio, Radio Disney.
Nice.
So I was on Radio Disney, and they heard about the auditions at Funimation, and they were looking to seek a partnership to give away stuff on the air, because that was the #1 show in Toonami back then. So they said, okay, on the air you can't say that you're Gohan, that's a conflict of interest. But I did get to give away Dragon Ball Z figures, and I would tell the caller, who, like, once we're not on the air, not recording anymore, it's like, hey, guess what? I'm actually the narrator and Gohan, and they're like, what?
Oh, man.
Did you actually use the voice and everything to convince
Tried to, yeah. I know it seems a little weird, like if you're walking down a toy aisle, like, hey kid.
Believe me.
Like, really? It's like, why are you talking to my son? I'm the voice of this character.
I'm the voice of that toy. I did that.
Right. I still have those. People think, it's like, is that weird, hearing your voice out of a TV? It's like, no, I think the coolest thing is like being on a game. When you're interacting and playing a playable character, it's like, that's my voice. Holy crap. I still freak out. Yeah. But yeah, the batteries still work on the old. I collected all the Dragon Ball Z figures. So naturally, of course, I collected Gohan and the ones where you could just push the base and it would like It's like, that's my voice.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah, that feels great. Yeah.
So, I'm assuming Gohan's like one of your favorite roles you've done today.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Because he's not really. I mean, he can be a badass, but he's also basically just a dork.
Yeah.
I can relate to that. The dorky side of it. The Great Saiyaman one. You know, it's all that. Just this big goober. And he can. You know, he brings it when he needs to, and everything. But yeah. And then recently with the announcement of the Buu saga of Kai. The cast gets to revisit our earliest stuff. You know, me, Kara Edwards, you know, Laura Bailey, all of the cast is coming back for those episodes that, you know, are slightly different, of course, in Kai. It's a brand new script in Japanese, so we're being faithful to that new script. And while it seems like a majority of the fans may prefer the original uncut series, well, that's long available. But hey, you know, give us a shot. Check us, because now we're all better actors. We've been at this longer. And now we get that rare opportunity to revisit our earliest stuff and redo it again. You know, just and hopefully it'll sound better. And I'm sure I'm anxious to see what the fans' reaction is.
I'm excited to see it as well. I haven't actually seen Dragon Ball Z Kai yet, but I watched Dragon Ball Z growing up, so Goku, Gohan, all those like my favorite things. Like just growing up, getting home from school, turning on Dragon Ball Z and watching it for like a half an hour, dude, that made my day.
Right, yeah. That's one of the coolest perks I get at conventions now. It's like, you were my childhood. It's like,
well,
I've
so
heard,
true. I mean, like for me, you know.
I hear other peoples that are way up the tier in animation voiceover world, like Peter Cullen, Optimus Prime.
Yeah.
You know, people telling him that. He's like, he tells the same stories I do. How weird is that? And I geek out when I meet those people.
Yeah.
What is your most challenging technically voice you've done?
It's not really necessarily the voice. It's just anytime I have to scream at the top of my lungs for hours on end. Luckily, Dragon Ball Z was good training for that. It was. When I recorded on League of Legends, they told me, they didn't know at first that I was Gohan. They said, for your character Ezreal, he's going to do these magical power-ups. The power-up is like, you ever heard of Dragon Ball Z? So I told them, and they totally fanboyed out. It's like, oh yes, I think I'm in with the client. This is good. Then I ended up booking 2 other roles on the game. So, but yeah, anytime that's vocally stressful, even Ryu in Street Fighter, if I have a 4-hour session where I'm like, Hadouken, you know, at the top of my lungs, over and over and over again, like Tatsumaki Senpuku, you know, Shoryuken, all that stuff. You have to record the dialogue first, and then all the fight, shout, screamy, death stuff last, and then your voice.
Oh, so that's not like all like in a
shredded.
sequence.
And then you go home, thanks guys, take care.
So it's not like in a sequence you have like the screaming and the talking dialogues all mixed together. You do that separately?
Well, yeah, you have to, you know, the screamy stuff might blow your voice out, so they do the cutscene stuff, the normal conversational stuff first.
Okay.
In order, you know, in sequence. It honestly doesn't matter what order you record in. Because again, in a game situation, you're by yourself, yet again. Because, especially with a Japanese game, because you're matching the timing of the audio.
Oh yeah.
It has to sync up because the animation's not done. We have no idea what the video looks like. So when you're playing Street Fighter 4, you're saying, "Wow, this lip sync's terrible. Did they even try?" It's like, well, we didn't have the raw materials at the time. All we had was the audio. It's like, all right, it says the answer lies in the heart of battle. This has to be said in 3.3 seconds, not 3.5, not 4, not 2. It has to be exactly this. So, bit of a battle, literally. Pardon the pun.
What has been like the craziest day on the job for you?
Craziest day on the job?
Yeah, like working or at the con. So.
Ooh. Gosh, I don't know. Define crazy in a good way?
Take your pick.
I don't know. I got to record on a commercial. I was cut from it, but I got to record on a Verizon commercial with Billy West one year, and I was just like, my jaw dropped because another big cartoon voice icon who's voiced, you know, on Futurama and Ren and Stimpy, and just a great storyteller, and his energy is just contagious in a room. He just like lights everyone up. And it's like, I am high on life right now. This is great. And this was rare because this is a commercial where you had all the actors together and we were all singing. We had an Island of Misfit Toys kind of song. And we're all singing. I'm the choo-choo train. He's like the lion. And so, Grey Delisle's there. It's like other voice actors that I really just look up to. So it's like, wow, that's wild. Or getting to record on my first cartoon. My first big cartoon was Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes. So I'm recording a Super Skrull.
Yeah.
It's a Marvel canon character. It's kind of like a Space Hulk type alien. And to my right is E.G. Daly, who was one of the Powerpuff Girls. And she was an on-screen actress for years. She was Pee-wee's girlfriend in Pee-wee's Big Adventure and Valley Girl, Nicolas Cage. And, it's like, wow, this is cool. It's like I was the very first one to speak on that episode. I was playing a scientist. And I do my scene, and I sit down, because everyone has their own mic. It's like a big U in that studio. Everyone has their own mic, and it's just everyone with their own stand, and everybody's sitting and waiting. And we just do it scene by scene. So scene 1 is just me. And the scene's done, we do it 2 or 3 times in a row. I sit down, she's sitting next to me, she goes, good job.
Stackpot.
Good.
Do you prefer working in a round table more setting where bouncing off of other people, or do you prefer working
Cartoons with the cast recording together is the best. That is crack to me. Because you do get to play off each other's performance, and you get to watch other people work. Do their craft, and you can improvise and help make the script a little bit better. It's sometimes you don't necessarily have that advantage in anime because of the lip sync constraint.
Yeah.
But boy, is it way more fun. I mean, we sit there and crack jokes, and everyone nowadays is pulling out smartphones and tablets as they wait for their scene to come up. It's like, Kyle, you're up. Oh, hi. I'm surprised the director hasn't totally just gone rage quit or something. It's like, put the phones away.
Forgive me before you start.
It's like, you guys know how lucky you are. That you get to do this. Put your phones away. It's like, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Who do you enjoy bouncing off with the most, voice actor-wise? Who's your favorite person to work with?
Man, I'm trying to think who I've done cartoons with that I've known for a long time.
Hope you don't offend anybody.
I hope I don't offend anyone. No. No, I love them all equally.
It's who you remember at this point.
Who I remember? I don't know. Troy Baker cracks me up.
Oh, I know.
He's
Yeah.
hysterical.
He's really rising up, isn't he?
Oh God, yeah. We all want to be Troy Baker when we grow up. I mean, Hinton Travis, Willingham, Laura Bailey. I mean, they're all Avengers on the new Avengers cartoon.
Yeah.
So envious. But I mean, hooray for them. I mean, they all started out here at Funimation. Now they're all big rock stars on video games out in LA. It's like, who knew? Who knew? It just seems like everyone's making the big trip out west because, again, that's where most of the work is. And the motion capture stuff, a lot of the games now do that. And like, that's twice the paycheck. You get paid to wear the skinny motion capture suit and do all the acting. They scan into the computer, and then you come back and do the voiceover too.
Oh, that's awesome.
I haven't got to do that yet, but I hope to. You have to memorize your dialogue, though. And I'm like, no, I'm spoiled. In voice work, your script's always in front of you. I don't have to memorize anything. This is great.
What do you do? Do you do like relaxing exercise or anything to get ready for your work rules or?
No, I don't do any prep. I mean, there's no rehearsal. They don't send you the script ahead of time unless it's a cartoon. Just so you can kind of see where it's going. You see the context of the scenes. But honestly, with anime and video games, they can tell you everything you absolutely need to know in the session.
Okay.
So I know the time and the location. Other than that, I have no idea what I'm going to do. If my character's going to live, die, or any of that. And
It's
that's the fun. That's the really cool challenge of it all. It's always something different. Like, who am I today? Okay, I'm a talking sponge, or I'm a giant wizard, or I'm a demon, or I'm a soldier. I'm an old guy. I'm a young guy. And then I go home. Let's go get sushi. It's not like Film World where you're sitting on a set for 12 plus hours waiting for makeup and wardrobe and the camera to set and the lights and all that stuff. It's like, no, it's very focused. You go in, record. Doesn't matter what you look like, how you dress. It's pretty free.
It sounds like probably the best ideal.
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, there's some people that work in the on-camera world that consider voice acting more of a challenge because they're used to projecting, they're used to moving around, and where's my eye line and all that stuff. It's like, you can strip all that away. You can still be physical in the booth as long as you're not punching the mic or accidentally hitting her. And obviously, when your character's running, you can't physically run. So it's all about proximity and knowing your mic technique and all that. I heard that it happened with Tom Cruise once, and they tried to give him a voiceover role. It's like, your character's running, like, Tom,
Did you come back here?
I need you back.
Would you come
You
back,
can't be
please?
running away. We need you here.
Yeah, yeah.